The great station called Concordia Prime floated in the darkness between stars. It was huge, bigger than most moons, with metal arms reaching out in all directions. Thousands of alien ships came and went from its docking bays every day. This was where the Galactic Council met to decide important things for their part of the universe. Today, something was very wrong. Ambassador Veltar stood at the center of the main council chamber. His green skin looked pale, and his forearms shook as he held the data pad. Around him sat the representatives of 47 different alien races. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of living crystal. A few breathed water instead, of air, and sat in special tanks. "The readings are impossible," Veltar said. His voice echoed in the massive room. "Our best sensors have been tracking this object for 3 cycles now. It moves faster than anything we have ever seen, much faster." The hologram above his head showed star maps and energy readings. A red dot moved between the stars at a speed that made no sense. The alien leaders looked at each other with worry. "How fast?" asked General Zixka. She was from the insect race called Zephyrians. Her black eyes never blinked, and sharp claws clicked against her chair. "Fast enough to cross our entire galaxy in less than 1 year," Veltar answered. "Our fastest ships need 50 years to make the same trip." Shocked whispers filled the room. The crystal beings made sounds like breaking glass when they were upset. The water-breathing aliens turned dark blue in their tanks. Council Leader Thorn stood up. He was old, even for his long-lived race. His white fur had turned silver over his many years of service. "What do we know about this object?" Veltar touched his data pad. The hologram changed to show more details. "It is 2 kilometers long. That makes it bigger than our largest warships. The energy it gives off is more than an entire fleet produces. But we cannot tell what powers it or what it is made of." "Could it be a predecessor ship?" asked someone from the back. The predecessors were an ancient race that had disappeared millions of years ago. Sometimes their old machines still worked, floating dead in space. "We thought of that," Veltar said. "But predecessor technology gives off different energy patterns. This is something new, something we have never seen before." The room fell quiet. For thousands of years, the different alien races had fought wars, made peace, and traded with each other. They knew about every type of ship and weapon in their galaxy. The idea that something completely unknown was coming toward them was terrifying. "Where is it going?" Thorn asked. Veltar's hands shook more as he answered. "The Kepler sector." Everyone knew about the Kepler sector. 3 of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy were fighting a war there. The Saurian Empire, the Zephyrian Swarm, and the Korthak Collective had been blasting each other to pieces for months. The sector had valuable mining worlds that everyone wanted to control. "If this unknown ship reaches the battle zone," General Zixka started to say. "It could tip the balance of power," Thorn finished. "Or it could destroy all 3 fleets." The alien leaders began talking loudly. Some wanted to send their own fleets to investigate. Others thought they should warn the fighting forces. A few suggested they should all work together to stop the unknown ship before it reached the war zone. But they were too late. The mysterious object was already almost there. Far away in the cold space between stars, the object moved silently through the darkness. It was not just a ship, it was a weapon. A perfect weapon designed by beings who understood war better than anyone else in the galaxy. On the bridge of this ship, Captain Sarah Chen looked at the tactical displays. She was human, but no alien in this galaxy had ever seen a human before. Her dark hair was pulled back and her brown eyes were calm as she studied the battle reports. "Distance to target?" she asked. 47 hours at current speed, Captain," answered Lieutenant Morrison. He was young for such an important job, but every person on this ship was the best Earth had to offer. Captain Chen nodded. Around her, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. The ship was called the UES Prometheus, and it carried 1,200 of the finest soldiers and scientists from Earth. But more importantly, it carried weapons and technology that would seem like magic to the aliens fighting their war ahead. "Any response to our monitoring signals?" Chen asked. "Nothing, Captain," said Communications Officer Park. "The three fleets are too busy fighting each other to notice us yet. They have been at war for 8 months now." Chen studied the tactical display. Red dots showed Saurian Empire ships. Blue dots were the Zephyrian Swarm. Green dots marked the Korthak Collective. There were thousands of ships all shooting at each other above a small planet rich in rare metals. "Estimated casualties?" she asked quietly. "Over 2 million dead in the last month alone," reported Dr. Williams from the science station. "All three sides keep sending more ships. This war could go on for years." Captain Chen closed her eyes for a moment. Earth had been watching this galaxy for a long time. They had learned the alien languages and studied their technology. What they found was a galaxy trapped in endless war. Different races fought over everything: planets, trade routes, old grudges that went back centuries. The worst part was that Earth's scientists had found evidence that someone was making the wars worse on purpose. Weapons appeared on battlefields that were too advanced for the aliens to have made themselves. Someone was selling both sides better ways to kill each other. That was why the Prometheus was here. Earth's leaders had decided that enough was enough. "All stations prepare for normal space transition," Chen ordered. "We are about to make first contact with this galaxy's inhabitants. Remember your training. We are not here as conquerors. We are here to stop a war." The ship's engines changed their sound as they prepared to drop out of faster-than-light travel. In a few hours, they would arrive in the middle of the largest space battle this galaxy had seen in decades. Captain Chen wondered if the aliens would listen to reason. She hoped they would. The alternative was something she did not want to think about. The Prometheus had enough firepower to destroy planets. It could make stars go dark or tear holes in space itself. Earth had built it to fight enemies who might threaten humanity's homeworld. Instead, they were sending it to stop aliens from destroying themselves. "Captain," said Lieutenant Morrison, "we are receiving long-range scans of the battle zone. All three fleets are still engaged. No signs they have detected us yet." "Good," Chen replied. "How long until we can broadcast on their communication frequencies?" 15 minutes, Captain." Chen looked around her bridge one more time. These next few hours would determine the future of an entire galaxy. Either the aliens would accept Earth's help in ending their wars, or humanity would have to force peace on them. She hoped it would not come to force, but if it did, the galaxy was about to learn that humans were very, very good at war. Space around the planet. Kepler 7 looked like a graveyard of metal and fire. Thousands of alien warships moved in deadly patterns, shooting energy beams and missiles at each other. The wreckage of destroyed vessels drifted between the fighting, fleets like broken toys. The Saurian Empire ships were long and dark, built like metal snakes with weapons along their sides. Admiral Kresh commanded them from his flagship, the World Render. It was 3 kilometers of pure destruction, covered in gun turrets and missile launchers. The Zephyrian Swarm flew in groups like angry insects. Their ships were smaller but faster, swarming around larger enemies and stinging them to death with plasma cannons. High Nest Mother Zixka controlled them all through a mental link that connected every Zephyrian in her fleet. The Korthak Collective ships looked like living crystals that had grown into the shape of weapons. They moved perfectly together, sharing information instantly through quantum connections. Their energy shields glowed purple as they absorbed enemy fire and shot it back twice as strong. All 3 fleets had been fighting over Kepler 7 for 8 months. The planet below was rich in quantum crystals that powered faster-than-light travel. Whoever controlled it would have a major advantage in future wars. Admiral Kresh stood on his command deck, watching the battle through his ship's sensors. His people looked like 8-foot-tall lizards with sharp teeth and claws. They had been warriors for thousands of years. "Status report," he growled. "We have lost 47 ships in the last day," reported his aide. "The Zephyrians are using new tactics. The Korthaks have improved their shield technology." Kresh slammed his clawed fist on the command table. "How long have we been fighting for? This worthless rock?" 8 months. 17 days, Admiral." "And how much closer are we to victory?" The aide was quiet. Everyone knew the answer. They were no closer to winning than when the battle started. Every time one side gained an advantage, the other two would work together to stop them. It was a perfect stalemate that could last for years. Suddenly, every alarm on the ship started screaming. "Admiral!" shouted the sensor officer. "Unknown contact dropping out of hyperspace. It's huge!" On the main screen, a new ship appeared between the three fleets. It was unlike anything any of them had ever seen. The ship was 2 kilometers long, but much thicker than their warships. It had a white hull that seemed to glow with its own light. Strange energy patterns danced across its surface. "What is that thing?" Kresh demanded. "Unknown design, Admiral. It does not match any ship in our databases. The energy readings are impossible." High Nest Mother Zixka felt the new arrival through her mental connection to her swarm. Her insect warriors were confused and frightened. The unknown ship gave off energy patterns that hurt to think about. The Korthak collective shared data between their crystal minds at the speed of light. In less than a second, they analyzed every bit of information their sensors could gather. The result was disturbing. The ship was more advanced than anything in their galaxy. Then, the unknown ship began to broadcast on all communication frequencies at once. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Federation vessel Prometheus," said a calm female voice. The translation computers worked frantically to convert the words into every alien language. "You will cease hostilities immediately and withdraw to your respective territories. This sector is now under Terran protection." The three fleets stopped, shooting for the first time in months. Every alien commander stared at their screens in shock. "Terran?" Admiral Kresh repeated. "What is a Terran?" "Unknown species, Admiral," his aide answered. "The translation suggests they call themselves humans." "Humans." Kresh said the word like it tasted bad. "Never heard of them." High Nest Mother Zixka spoke through her ship's communication system. Her voice buzzed like an angry insect. "Unknown vessel, you have entered a combat zone. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." The Korthak response was more direct. Their crystal voices spoke in perfect harmony. "Unknown entity disrupts local space-time balance. Must be removed for strategic stability." Admiral Kresh decided to take control of the situation. His empire was the largest military force in the galaxy. No single ship, no matter how big, could threaten 800 Saurian warships. "Unknown vessel, I am Admiral Kresh of the Saurian Empire. You are outnumbered 3,000 to 1. Leave now, or we will add your wreckage to the debris field." On the bridge of the Prometheus, Captain Chen listened to the alien responses with sad understanding. She had hoped they might be reasonable, but it seemed like these species only understood force. "Captain," said Lieutenant Morrison, "all three fleets are powering weapons. Looks like they have stopped fighting each other to focus on us." "Any signs they are willing to negotiate?" Chen asked. "No, Captain. They seem to think we are just another warship they can destroy." Captain Chen looked at her tactical officer. "Commander Torres, show me what we are facing." The main screen filled with data. 800 Saurian ships, each one armed with enough weapons to destroy a city. 600 Zephyrian vessels swarming like deadly insects. 400 Korthak, ships with energy shields that could absorb tremendous damage. Any one of those fleets could conquer star systems. Together, they represented enough firepower to crack planets. "Recommendations?" Chen asked her senior staff. "We could try a warning." "Shot!" suggested the weapons officer. "Destroy a few ships to show them we are serious." "That would just make them angrier," said Dr. Williams. "These species have been fighting for centuries. They do not back down from shows of force." Captain Chen made her decision. "All right. We will give them a demonstration they cannot ignore. Commander Torres, prepare the gravitational pulse system." "Yes, Captain. Charging gravity wave generators now." The aliens had no idea what was about to happen. In their galaxy, weapons worked by shooting energy beams or throwing missiles very fast. They had never seen technology that could reach out and touch every ship in a star system at the same time. "This is your final warning," Captain Chen broadcast to the alien fleets. "Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Admiral Kresh laughed. It was a harsh sound that made his crew nervous. "Big words for someone who is about to become space dust. All ships, target the unknown vessel. Fire at will." 3,000 alien warships opened fire at once. Energy beams bright enough to be seen from planets away streaked toward the Prometheus. Missiles with nuclear warheads followed close behind. The combined firepower was enough to melt mountains. The human ship did not try to dodge. It did not raise shields or fire back. It just sat there as the alien weapons struck it, the energy. Beams hit the Prometheus and disappeared. The missiles exploded harmlessly against its hull. After 30 seconds of continuous fire from 3,000 ships, the human vessel was completely undamaged. "Impossible," whispered Admiral Kresh. Captain Chen's voice came over the communication channels again. "Demonstration commencing now." The Prometheus did not fire any weapons. Instead, it sent out invisible waves of gravitational force. The waves moved at the speed of light, reaching every ship in the system in seconds. Suddenly, every alien vessel lost power to its engines. Propulsion systems that had worked perfectly for decades simply stopped. Ships that had been moving at thousands of kilometers per hour came to a complete halt. Only life support systems continued to function. 3,000 warships, representing the combined might of 3 galactic civilizations, floated helplessly in space like toys in a bathtub. Captain Chen's final message was delivered while the alien crews desperately tried to restart their engines. "You have 10 minutes to begin withdrawal. Any ship that attempts to resume hostilities will be destroyed. Any ship that fires upon the Prometheus will result in the complete annihilation of that fleet. This is your only warning." Admiral Kresh stared at his control panels in disbelief. Every system on his flagship showed the same impossible reading. The engines were completely dead. Not damaged, not malfunctioning. They simply would not respond to any command. Around. The world render. 800 Saurian warships drifted helplessly in space. Emergency lights flickered on their dark hulls as backup power systems tried to keep life support running. "Engineering report!" Kresh roared. Chief Engineer Voss climbed. Up from the lower levels, his scaly face covered in sweat. "Admiral, I have never seen anything like this. The engines are not broken, they just will not work. It is like gravity itself has been turned off." "That is impossible," Kresh growled. "Yes, Admiral, but impossible things seem to be happening today." On her swarm ship, High Nest Mother Zixka felt panic spreading through her mental connection with her warriors. 600 Zephyrian vessels floated dead in space, their insect crews clicking and buzzing in fear. The swarm mind that connected them all was screaming with confusion. The Korthak collective ships had gone completely silent. Their crystal minds were processing this new information, trying to understand how one alien vessel had disabled 400 advanced warships without firing a single shot. Admiral Kresh looked at the human ship on his main screen. The Prometheus floated calmly among the disabled fleets, its white hull still glowing with that strange energy. The fact that it was completely undamaged after being hit by 3,000 ships' worth of weapons made his blood run cold. "Sir," said his communications officer, "we are getting messages from all our ships. They want to know what happened to their engines." "Tell them we are working on it," Kresh snapped. But he was lying. He had no idea how to fix this problem. His pride as a Saurian warrior would not let him accept defeat. The Empire had never backed down from a fight. They were the greatest military force in the galaxy. One ship could not be allowed to humiliate them this way. "Weapon systems," he ordered. "Are they still functioning?" "Yes, Admiral. The gravitational effect only hit our engines. Our guns still work." Kresh smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Then we fight. All ships with functioning weapons target that human vessel. Show them what happens when someone challenges the Saurian Empire." "Admiral," his aide said nervously, "they warned us what would happen if we fired on their ship." "Empty threats," Kresh snarled. "They may have some kind of engine-stopping weapon, but they are still outnumbered. No single ship can destroy an entire fleet." He was wrong. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Captain Chen watched the Saurian ships turning their weapons toward her vessel. She felt tired. She had hoped the demonstration would be enough to make them surrender. But some species, it seemed, had to learn the hard way. "Captain," reported Lieutenant Morrison, "the Saurian flagship and 200 other ships are powering weapons. They intend to fire on us." "Any word from the other two fleets?" Chen asked. "The Zephyrians and Korthax are not moving. I think they want to see what happens next." Captain Chen understood. The insect and crystal aliens were smart enough to recognize a superior force when they saw one. But the Saurians were too proud to back down. Their warrior culture would rather die fighting than admit defeat. "Commander Torres," she said quietly, "prepare the quantum destabilizer. Single target, the Saurian flagship only. Quantum destabilizer armed and ready, Captain." The World Render opened fire along with 200 other Saurian ships. Energy, beams, and missiles streaked toward the Prometheus once again. Once again, they had no effect. The human ship absorbed the attacks like they were raindrops. "Fire!" Captain Chen ordered. The quantum destabilizer was not like any weapon the galaxy had ever seen. It did not shoot energy beams or launch missiles. Instead, it reached out with invisible fingers and touched the very atoms that made up its target. The World Render began to glow. At first, Admiral Kresh thought it was just light reflecting off his ship's hull. Then he realized the glow was coming from inside the metal itself. The walls around him started to shine with a soft white light. "What is happening?" he demanded. Chief Engineer Voss was staring at his instruments in horror. "Admiral, the molecular bonds in our hull are breaking down. The ship is coming apart at the atomic level." "Stop it!" Kresh shouted. "I cannot stop it, Admiral. We need to evacuate the ship now." But there was no time to evacuate. The process was too fast. The greatest warship in the Saurian fleet, 3 kilometers of advanced technology and proud military tradition, simply began to fade away. It did not explode. It did not catch fire. The atoms that made up the ship separated from each other and drifted apart like dust in the wind. Admiral Kresh and his 50,000 crew members did not even have time to scream. They dissolved along with their ship, becoming nothing more than hydrogen atoms scattered across space. The entire process took exactly 37 seconds. Every ship in the system watched in stunned silence as the most powerful warship in their galaxy ceased to exist. Where the World Render had been, there was now only empty space and a faint cloud of glowing particles. "Attention! All vessels!" Captain Chen's voice cut through the shocked silence. "That was a demonstration of what happens when you fire on a Terran ship. The rest of the Saurian fleet has 60 seconds to power down all weapons. Any ship that continues hostile actions will meet the same fate." The remaining Saurian ships immediately shut down their weapons. Some of them were already trying to restart their engines, desperate to escape before the humans decided to dissolve them too. High Nest Mother Zixka sent a message through the quantum communication network that connected her swarm. "All ships, prepare for immediate withdrawal. Do not engage the human vessel under any circumstances." The Korthak Collective reached the same conclusion through their shared crystal consciousness. The humans were so far beyond their level of technology that fighting them would be suicide. Captain Chen watched the alien fleets begin their retreat as their engines slowly came back online. The gravitational pulse had been designed to wear off after a few minutes. She wanted them to leave, not to be sitting targets. "Captain," said Dr. Williams from her science station, "I am detecting quantum communication bursts from all three fleets. They are sending reports about us to their home worlds." "Let them," Chen replied. "The galaxy needs to know what happened here today." Within hours, the news would spread to every inhabited star system. The story of how a single human ship had disabled three fleets and destroyed the greatest warship in the galaxy would be told and retold until it became legend. Some would not believe it at first. A single ship could not be that powerful. But the evidence was impossible to deny. The world render was gone, completely erased from existence. And the humans who did it were still out there, somewhere in the dark between the stars. On Earth, Admiral Marcus Torres received Captain Chen's initial contact report through the quantum communication relay. The discovery that this galaxy was trapped in endless warfare and that their weapons could destroy planets activated Protocol 7. Protocol 7 was a military doctrine that Earth had developed for exactly this situation. When humans encountered a galaxy-wide threat that could potentially spread to human space, they were authorized to take whatever action was necessary to eliminate that threat. Admiral Torres began issuing orders to the Sol Defense Fleet. Within days, more human ships would join the Prometheus. And if the aliens of this galaxy could not learn to live in peace, then humanity would teach them. The galaxy was about to discover that humans were very good teachers when it came to war. The news spread across the galaxy faster than any ship could travel. Quantum communication networks carried the impossible story from star system to star system. A single alien vessel had disabled three of the most powerful fleets in known space and completely destroyed the legendary world render. Most people did not believe it at first. On the water world of Aquatica, the fish-like Nautilans laughed when they heard the report. No single ship could defeat 3,000 vessels. It had to be some kind of mistake or propaganda. But then the video recordings arrived. Every ship in the battle had recorded everything. The footage showed the human vessel appearing from nowhere, absorbing massive weapons fire without damage, and then making the greatest warship in the galaxy simply disappear. The laughter stopped. On Crystalline Prime, home world of the Korthak Collective, millions of crystal beings shared the recordings through their quantum network. They analyzed every frame, every energy reading, every impossible detail. Their conclusion was unanimous and terrifying. The humans were using technology that violated every known law of physics. But the reactions across the galaxy were not all the same. The smaller, peaceful races saw the humans as potential saviors. For thousands of years, they had been caught in the middle of wars between the major powers. Their worlds were invaded, their people enslaved, their resources stolen to fuel endless conflicts. Now someone had appeared who was strong enough to stop the wars. The peaceful coalition sent a message to human space, begging for protection. The Traders Guild offered to share their knowledge of galactic commerce in exchange for security guarantees. Dozens of small civilizations that had lived in fear suddenly saw hope for the first time in centuries, but the major military powers saw things very differently. In the golden halls of the hegemony's capital world, emergency sessions began immediately. The hegemony was the largest military alliance in the galaxy, representing 17 different warlike species. Together, they controlled over 10,000 advanced warships. General Mordak of the hegemony stood before a massive hologram showing the human ship. He was a member of the Krathan race, 8 feet tall with gray skin and red eyes. His people had been soldiers for so long that they were born with weapons growing from their arms. "This cannot be allowed to continue," he said to the assembled war leaders. "If these humans establish a foothold in our galaxy, they will eventually threaten all of us." "But they destroyed the world render," pointed out Admiral Yex of the Void Hunters. "How do we fight something that can erase matter?" "We overwhelm them with numbers," Mordak replied. "They have one ship. We have 10,000. Even their impossible weapons must have limits." The hegemony began mobilizing the largest fleet in galactic history. Ships from 17 different worlds converged on the Rigel system, just 2 hyperspace jumps from where the humans had established their presence. Officially, it was called a defensive exercise, but everyone knew they were preparing for war. Meanwhile, Captain Chen had been joined by 2 more human vessels. The cruisers Yorktown and Endeavor were smaller than the Prometheus, but each one carried enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. Together, the 3 ships established a monitoring station in the former battle zone around Kepler 7. Captain Chen stood in the station's command center, reading reports from her exploration teams. What they had discovered was deeply disturbing. "Dr. Williams," she called to her chief science officer, "show me that analysis of the weapons we found on the battlefield." The holographic display filled with images of alien weapons and technology. But mixed in with the expected energy cannons and missile systems were devices that made Chen's blood run cold. "These plasma rifles," Dr. Williams explained, "use focusing crystals that follow human engineering principles. This missile guidance system is based on Earth's quantum navigation technology from 50 years ago. And these shield generators? They are using modified human designs," Chen finished. "Where did they get this technology?" "That is what we need to find out, Captain." The investigation led them to discover something that changed everything. The perpetual warfare in this galaxy was not natural. It was being maintained by a shadow organization called the War Syndicate. The Syndicate sold weapons to all sides of every conflict, making sure that no faction ever achieved complete victory. They profited enormously from the constant fighting, collecting payment in rare metals, advanced technology, and sometimes entire planets. But the most shocking discovery was that many of the Syndicate's weapons showed clear signs of human origin. "Captain," reported Intelligence Officer Martinez, "we have traced the technology patterns back through 200 years of galactic history. The advanced weapons started appearing exactly when Earth lost contact with the colony ships that launched in 2387. Captain Chen felt sick. The colony ships were humanity's first attempt to reach other galaxies. 12 vessels had left Earth carrying the best and brightest of human civilization. They were supposed to establish peaceful colonies and report back within 50 years. They never did. Earth assumed they had been destroyed or lost in the void between galaxies. Now it seemed they had made it to this galaxy after all. But instead of building peaceful colonies, they had become arms dealers, turning an entire galaxy into their personal war economy. "How many people were on those ships?" Chen asked quietly. "Approximately 60,000 total, Captain," Martinez replied, "along with complete databases of human technology and military doctrine. 60,000 humans have spent 2 centuries turning this galaxy into a war zone," Dr. Williams said. "They have caused the deaths of billions of aliens for profit." Captain Chen made a decision that would shape the future of both galaxies. "Send a priority message to Earth. Tell Admiral Torres we need the full battle fleet. This is no longer just a peacekeeping mission." "What is it then, Captain?" "It is a family intervention." The message reached Earth through the quantum communication relay. Admiral Marcus Torres read Captain Chen's report in his office, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The old warrior's face grew dark as he learned the truth about the lost colony ships. Torres had been a young officer when those ships launched. He remembered the hope and excitement as humanity prepared to spread across the universe. The thought that some of his own species had become galactic war profiteers filled him with rage. He activated the communication system that connected him to every human military base in the solar system. This is Admiral Torres. Protocol 7 is now fully active. All available ships are to prepare for immediate departure to the Kepler galaxy. We have a problem to solve, and it involves our own people. Within hours, the greatest fleet in human history began assembling near Earth. Dreadnoughts that could crack moons, carriers filled with fighters that moved faster than light, and support ships carrying weapons that could rewrite the laws of reality. But they were not going as conquerors. They were going as police officers to arrest criminals who happened to be human. The hegemony's spies detected the human fleet mobilization through their deep space sensors. The readings showed 47 ships heading toward their galaxy. Each one was larger and more powerful than anything they had ever seen. General Mordak smiled when he received the report. The humans were coming to fight. That meant they could be beaten in battle like any other enemy. He had no idea that he was about to face opponents who had turned warfare into an art form. The humans who were coming had spent centuries perfecting ways to kill things. They had fought wars across multiple galaxies and won every single one. The hegemony had 10,000 ships, but the humans had something more important than numbers. They had experience. The human fleet arrived like thunder in the darkness. 47 ships dropped out of hyperspace near the Kepler system, their hulls gleaming with the same strange energy that surrounded the Prometheus. Each vessel was a masterpiece of human engineering, built to fight wars across galaxies. Admiral Marcus Torres stood on the bridge of his flagship, the UES Constitution. He was an old man who had seen more battles than most people had seen sunrises. His gray hair and weathered face told the story of a lifetime spent protecting humanity from threats across the universe. "Status report," he commanded. "All ships have arrived safely, Admiral," reported his aide. "Captain Chen is requesting immediate conference." "Put her through." Captain Chen's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but determined. "Admiral, we have a problem. The hegemony fleet has positioned itself between us and the war, Syndicate's main base. They intend to fight." Torres nodded grimly. "How many ships?" "Over 10,000, sir. Every major military power in the galaxy except the 3 we already defeated." "And the war syndicate?" "Our intelligence suggests they are using a hidden base in the dead zone. It is heavily fortified and protected by advanced human technology." Admiral Torres made his decision quickly. Earth's military doctrine was simple when facing multiple enemies. Deal with the immediate threat first, then handle the real problem. "We will handle the hegemony fleet first," he said. "Then we can focus on our former colonists. Sir, with respect, there are 10,000 enemy ships. We only have 47. Torres smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "Captain, you have been away from the Sol fleet for too long. Our ships have been upgraded since the Prometheus launched. We are not just here to keep peace anymore. We are here to end a war." The Battle of Proxima Nebula began at 800 Galactic Standard Time. The hegemony fleet spread across space in a formation that had won 1,000 battles. General Mordak commanded, from his dreadnought, the Devastator. Around him, ships from 17 different warrior races prepared for the fight of their lives. "Remember," Mordak broadcast to his fleet, "these humans may have powerful weapons, but they are still just one species. We are the combined might of the greatest civilizations in the galaxy. Today we show them that this galaxy belongs to us." The alien fleet began its attack run. 10,000 ships moved forward like a metal avalanche, their weapons charging for the opening barrage. Energy readings across the battlefield climbed to levels that could be detected from neighboring star systems. Admiral Torres watched the enemy approach on his tactical display. Each red dot represented a ship that could destroy cities. Together, they had enough firepower to crack planets. It was an impressive sight. It was also completely useless against human military technology. "All ships," Torres commanded, "activate reality anchors. Maximum defensive configuration." Around each human vessel, space itself began to change. The reality anchors created zones where the normal laws of physics worked differently. Energy weapons could not penetrate them. Missiles simply stopped existing when they crossed the boundary. Even the vacuum of space became solid as steel. The hegemony fleet opened fire with everything they had. The combined weapons of 10,000 ships lit up the nebula like a new star being born. The energy release was so massive that it temporarily blinded sensors across 3 star systems. When the light faded, all 47 human ships were completely undamaged. "Impossible," General Mordak whispered. Admiral Torres activated his ship's communication system. His voice carried to every vessel in the enemy fleet. "This is Admiral Marcus Torres of the Terran Federation. You have attacked Earth vessels without provocation. Under the laws of war, you are now legitimate military targets. You have 30 seconds to surrender." "Never!" Mordak screamed back. "All ships, continue firing! Ram them if you have to!" The alien fleet pressed forward, launching wave after wave of attacks. Nuclear missiles, plasma cannons, gravity bombs, antimatter warheads. Every weapon known to galactic science was thrown at the human ships. Nothing worked. Admiral Torres waited patiently as the enemy exhausted their ammunition. When the firing finally stopped, he gave his own order. "All ships, engage. Rules of engagement are unlimited. Show them what happens when someone threatens Earth." The human fleet did not charge forward like the aliens expected. Instead, they spread out and began a systematic demonstration of superiority that would be remembered for thousands of years. The UES Defiant used its quantum disruptors to delete enemy ships from existence. One moment a hegemony cruiser was there, the next moment it was gone as if it had never been built. The UES Valiant activated its gravitational lances, weapons, that could reach across space and crush ships like tin cans. Entire formations of enemy vessels were compacted into balls of metal the size of houses. The UES Thunder deployed its time dilator missiles. These weapons did not destroy their targets. They slowed time around them until the enemy crews aged to death in seconds while the rest of the universe moved forward normally. The battle was not a fight. It was an extermination. Ship after ship vanished from the hegemony fleet. Some were dissolved at the atomic level. Others were crushed by artificial gravity. A few were transported into the heart of nearby stars. The human weapons worked so far beyond galactic technology that the aliens could not even understand how they were dying. In 4 hours, the greatest military fleet in galactic history was reduced to fewer than 200 ships. The survivors fled in panic, broadcasting surrender messages and begging for mercy. Admiral Torres let them go. His target was not the hegemony, it was the war syndicate. "All ships," he commanded, "set course for the dead zone. Time to visit our old friends." The dead zone was a region of space where stars had burned out long ago. It was dark, cold, and supposedly empty. The perfect place to hide a secret base. But human sensors could detect things that alien technology missed. The war syndicate's hidden fortress appeared on their screens like a metal cancer growing in the darkness. The base was huge, built into a dead planet that had been hollowed out and turned into a weapon factory. Advanced shields protected it, shields that used modified human technology to deflect energy attacks. As the human fleet approached, a communication channel opened. The voice that came through spoke perfect English with an Earth accent. Well, the homeland finally found us." Admiral Torres felt anger burning in his chest. "This is Admiral Torres of the Sol Defense Fleet. You are former Earth colonists engaging in illegal weapons trafficking and genocide. Surrender immediately." Laughter echoed through the communication system. "Admiral, do you have any idea how much money we have made in the last 2 centuries? This galaxy has been our personal cash machine. We are not giving that up because Earth finally decided to grow a backbone. Then we will take it from you. You can try, old man, but we have had 200 years to prepare for this day. Let us show you what your own technology can do, when it is properly used. The War Syndicate's base opened fire with weapons that made the hegemony fleet look like children's toys. Antimatter beams that could cut through planets streaked toward the human ships. Quantum torpedoes that existed in 17 dimensions at once phased through normal shields. Reality bombs tried to erase the attacking fleet from existence. Admiral Torres smiled as the attacks harmlessly struck his ship's defenses. "You have been away from Earth too long. Did you really think we would not improve our technology in 2 centuries? The human fleet responded with weapons that the colonists had never seen before. Planet crackers that could split worlds in half. Star killers that made suns go supernova. Reality engines that could rewrite the laws of physics in local space. The War Syndicate's base, built to withstand any known weapon, began to come apart under the assault. 2 centuries of stolen wealth and accumulated technology were reduced to scrap metal in minutes. The surviving colonists surrendered before their entire base was destroyed. Captain Chen led the boarding parties that arrested the War Syndicate leadership. She found them in their command center, surrounded by displays showing the profits from 200 years of galactic warfare. "You destroyed entire civilizations for money," she said to their leader, a man whose family had left Earth generations ago. "We gave them what they wanted," he replied. "Better weapons to kill their enemies with. We just happened to make a profit doing it." "You made them kill each other for your entertainment." "The galaxy was already at war when we arrived. We just made the wars more efficient." Captain Chen looked at this man who shared her species but not her values. "You are under arrest for crimes against sentient life. You and your people will be taken back to Earth for trial." The War Syndicate was finished. Their weapons factories were destroyed, their leaders captured, their influence over galactic politics ended forever. But the galaxy was still full of civilizations that had been fighting for so long they did not know how to stop. Admiral Torres made the decision that would define humanity's role in this galaxy for centuries to come. Standing on the bridge of his flagship, looking out at the stars where billions of aliens lived in fear of constant war, he activated the fleet's communication system. "Attention, people of this galaxy. This is Admiral Marcus Torres of the